Good morning. Thanks for being here. Uh, Again, I want to express extreme gratitude on behalf of the football team. Wonderful weekend, all the events from uh, Hall of Fame, the Hess family, um, the fans, which I talked about after the game. Great weather. When you have alum, former players. As long I've been here so many years, I got a chance to see so many former players. They come back in town for 2 days, 2 or 3 days, and they link themselves to our team, our program, and our guys have embraced it, and it's really cool. So again, so thank you for everybody's efforts on that. On the game, I, just a couple of comments. It was our best 4 quarters as all three phases. I've said here before, playing with a lead, we've struggled with that, and I think we did that well Saturday. A second straight ball game, I believe, without a turnover, and we've been in the obviously in the plus turnover category these last 2 weeks as well, and so that's going to pay dividends if we can continue to do those things. As that was a big factor in last year. Defense only created 8, and we were minus whatever we were last year. So, we're halfway through talking with Sarah right now, so time flies. But some things we got to get better in. We've got to be better on third down, both offense and defense. We can play better on offense. Just watching the film. We're going to challenge our guys today. Hopefully, we can get some guys back on defense, particularly in the back end. It was an all new back end back there, and really I thought did a good job, kept the ball in front. So, moving forward, headed into another, obviously, a conference game at Western. We've got to build off of this past performance, and I think we can't let another homecoming or a road game or the opponent, whomever, affect our mindset. What's our mindset? Our mindset's going to be one game at a time. So we're going to, correct the mistakes from this last game and forge ahead to play our best 4 quarters on the road and find a way to win a road game. So
we are opening the floor up to questions. Please introduce yourself before you ask.
Eric Decker with the Athens Messenger. Coach, they've all been formidable opponents, but what do you think has contributed to the 0-3 skid on the road to start the year?
Yeah, combination of things. The Power Five are the Power Five. You look at Penn State. I wrote down a couple of things. Auburn scored 12, Central scored 14, Northwestern scored 7. We scored 10. As a defensive football team, they're solid. Well, Iowa State, look at their defense. They're probably one of the best in the country. I heard Kansas State's head coach on national TV Saturday after our game say it's the best defense in the country. And I'm not going to say he's not right. Just from the defensive standpoint, and then I know offensively Iowa State's struggling to score some points, but their defenses have got them in every game, and we'll see. Penn State they got a big one this week. So I think opponent on those two. Can we play better at Iowa State? You bet. We all know the mistakes that were made, particularly on offense in that game. Then you take the Kent State game, and we took them to the final blow and just didn't find a way to finish. And we're looking to have a different outcome on this next road trip.
Aiden Crowley, WEB, and it's a farther road trip, 5.5 hours. How's that going to affect your schedule going into the week?
Yeah, it's a flight game for us. I think we're scheduled to have about a 55-minute flight, so that will make it obviously probably a little bit more relaxing. It's going to give us some more downtime at the hotel. Maybe a little extra time for maybe a walkthrough, maybe a little bit more film, or catch part of the game that's on Friday night. But the travel piece of this, with us flying, is actually going to, I think, benefit our team.
do you hope it could also kind of benefit guys like Torrey Cox to potentially get back on the field? How's that?
We're hopeful. As I sat here today, I feel good about Torrey getting him back, and also I feel pretty good about getting Zach back, Zach Sanders as well. Treek will probably be one of the guys that will be benefit from how the week goes and then the travel. Treek, I'm sure, will travel with us, and it'll be a game day decision based on the conference office and how that goes with the rules. And then we may have another guy or two. Jay Amberg's getting close. I know Julian Ross is getting close. But as I said here today, I can't say for sure, 100% certainty that they're going to be back. But Matthias is hopeful in yesterday's staff meeting.
Maria Manessi, WAUB. I wanted to talk a little bit about Keegan Wilburn. What have you seen out of him this season, and what has impressed you?
He's a great teammate, and he's done a fabulous job in the role that we've asked him to do with the returns, and he wants to play receiver here, and I mean he's going to. I mean he's providing great depth at the position, but as you guys know, we've got a couple guys at receiver that are playing lights out right now, in Sam and Jacoby, and so they're getting the bulk of the snaps. And you know what, James is doing pretty well as well. How about Miles Cross? How's he doing? And so Will Kazmarek had 2 huge catches last week. With Tyler Foster being out, who had 3 touchdowns in 2 games before his injury. So the names I mentioned right there are playing well, so it's making it difficult for guys like Keegan, Nigel Drummond, another guy. I'll just throw him in there as far as Keegan, Nigel. They have to accept their role to give us our best chance because of the production of what we're seeing at that spot, and they have been repeating myself, the great teammates, and embrace their role and come to work every day. And if that continues as a football team, it's going to pay dividends down the road. And you just never know, the 2 or 3 guys that played in the secondary last week. I mean, we started basically 3 freshmen, back there, for sure 2, but 3 saw extensive time, and they can say, well, hey, I'm playing behind Tariq. He's an all-league guy, and Zach's a senior. All right, and then look, one play, they're thrust in there, and so Keegan, he'll be ready if that presents itself. Hopefully it does not, but to wrap it up, I just know that football's the greatest team sport on the planet. I mean, it is. I say it, tell our guys that all the time, and you just got to make sure that you're ready to go when it's your time.
Kind of adding on to that, one of the key aspects of this offense has been the diversity of the receiving room and how often people have gotten the ball. So is that sort of the game plan when you guys go in, or is that just Curtis being able to find whoever's open? Yeah,
I'm going to say it's a combination of both. Sam is a guy that you want to get the ball to, right? I mean, and Jacoby is a guy you want to get the ball to. And then we saw some huge plays out of James Bostic early in the season. I know that he hasn't got behind him here in a week or 2, but the production on the field warrants targets. All right, we knew early in the series that based on the back end, Sam's going to have a good chance to get targeted on the deep throw. It just happened to be the first play, and then the production of the room, you got to bring up Dwayne Dixon and what he's been able to get done with those guys. I mean, he's arguably the greatest receiver coach on the planet. If you look at guys that have gone on to play on Sunday, if you base it on that, no one's put more guys in the league than him. And he's a great teacher of the game. I think he's brought those guys along. As I've said before, going into spring, we were really, really didn't know what we were going to have there. because we returned only Tyler Walton was the leading receiver at 30 catches, and then James had 5 or 6. But coming out of spring ball into August, we thought it was going to be a strength, and that's how it's played out.
And then, Coach, the guy getting him the ball is nearly at 2,000 yards through the halfway point of the season. Where does this season sort of rank for you in your experience at OU?
Well, I'll say those total comments until the end. But through 6 games, when you've got a quarterback that's playing at the level he is playing at, you've got a receiver or two that's close to 100 yards a game. Someone's at close to 200 yards a game pretty frequently, and you've got CA, who, from what I understand, is the MAC East Offensive Player of the Week, coming off his best performance, not with just touchdowns. I said this after the game, but he had his best complete game. Several solid pass pickups on protection that gave Curtis time to do what we're talking about right now. And so when you got a quarterback that's playing at this level, you got a running back that's close to 100, and you got a couple of receivers that it's 1 week it's Sam, 1 week it's and maybe James, or however it shakes out. I mentioned after Kent State, we got to get more points with that production, and we were able to do that versus Akron. Hopefully that can continue heading into the Western game.
You kind of just mentioned it with CA there. Now was it the 3rd MAC East Player of the Week from you guys so far this season. So just as an offensive guy yourself, how fulfilling is that?
I think it speaks volume for the guys that they come to work every day, and we challenged them after the Kent State game pretty hard. They're going to get challenged today, watching the film. So I really believe that we can play better on offense. That was my message to the staff yesterday. They agree wholeheartedly. We're still not up to our potential, and which is exciting. So, the MAC East thing, it's obviously very rewarding for the players, and we're all for that. As much as we can, continue to get those. That means good things, right? Our conference is so competitive. I don't need a crystal ball. I've said it. You can quote me on it. As far as every week, talking with Russ after the game, some of the scores that were going on, I was not surprised whatsoever, because every week's going to be like that, which is good, which is great for the fans. I mean, it's great for the fans.
Note on the offensive line, Coach, all the accolades, all the yards, and everything. This has been a banged up unit. This has been a retooled unit. Those plaudits have to go back to that offensive line. How has that group been able to keep it together to be as productive of an offense as you are?
Just like, I appreciate that question. And I talked about Dwayne and the receivers. Alan Rudolph, co-coordinator, we made the switch from, he was been on the field his whole life, never been up in a booth, I don't believe, in his entire career, and he handles our run game. And I thought moving forward, that was one of the things that I talked about at MAC Media Days. Some adjustments, things that we do differently, redefining some roles. And he was kind of like, I don't know, Tim. And I kind of just trust me on it. You're going to like it when you get up there. And we obviously did some things in the spring practice, got him upstairs. I think it's helped our offense. Back to the guys, his mindset with his group is phenomenal. They had a tough go last year, with the injuries. Coming off the Northwestern Syracuse game with Danikers, Nick Sink. And so they went through the gauntlet with that last year. And we've had some battered and bruised guys. But that next man up mentality and have gone through it last year, we have certainly benefited from those tough moments a year ago and have applied them to this year. So, the last year injuries were like catastrophic, out for the year type. This year's been, we get Jay back. It'll be a month here this next week, and so we haven't had the catastrophic injury, just some bumps and bruises. And so those guys have been around the facility, and the guys know they're going to be back. I think that's an energy about itself.
Coach, you were mentioning some of the scores around the league. I think one of the ones that caught a lot of people's attention was that Western game against Eastern. And one of the ways Eastern was able to exploit Western was in the passing game, nearly 300 yards. Is that kind of giving you guys confidence going into this one?
As I said here today, Monday, with just limited film yesterday and this morning, right now number wise, our offense's numbers are the numbers, and their defense. Our strength probably as a football team is offensively. Their strength, without question, their defense. They have got 0 underclassmen in the top 15 guys. The secondary is 2 graduate players and 2 seniors. They got 2 seniors and a junior at linebacker. 27 and 20 are the 2 inside guys, and they do an unbelievable job in avoiding blocks. Very athletic. They're very quick. The ball's coming, and they can get out of the old lineman's way and then back in to make the tackle better than I've seen all year. We're going to be challenged with their secondary, and they do a great job of getting after the pass rush. We played Western Michigan here in 2019 prior to the pandemic. There's probably 5 guys off that team that are still playing for them. And so, our quarterback's last name is Rourke, but it was a different Rourke, we as an offense will be facing a very, very, very good defense. It will be a very, very good matchup and should be a whale of a ball game.